All right, our first lesson here is going to be a JavaScript refresher about functions. Chances are you know what I'm going to show you in this lesson, so please be patient with me. I want to make sure you've got the fundamentals right before we move on to more complex topics. So in JavaScript, functions are first-class citizens, which means we can treat them just like any other variables. We can assign them to a variable, we can pass them as arguments, and return them from other functions. Let me show you. So in our starter project, I'm going to write all the code in this file, index.js. So let's declare a function called sayHello that returns a string, hello world, as always. Now, let's declare a variable called fn. We can set this to a number or a boolean or a string, but we can also set it to a function, sayHello. Note that I'm not calling this function because if we call it, we get its return value, which is a string. We don't want to call the function. We simply want to pass a reference to it. So functions are first-class citizens in JavaScript. We can treat them like any other type of objects. Nothing special about them, okay? Now, fn is an alias for sayHello. So we can call it just like calling the sayHello function. The result is exactly the same. We'll get a string back, okay? Now, we can also pass a function as an argument to another function. So let's declare another function called greet, which takes a function for generating a message. Now here we can do a console.log and pass the return value of this function. So our greet function takes a function as a parameter and calls it over here, okay? Now we can call greet and pass a reference to the sayHello function. Once again, I'm not calling this function. I'm simply passing a reference to it, okay? So in JavaScript, we can assign a function to a variable. We can pass it as an argument. We can also return it from another function. So let's get rid of this code. In our sayHello function, instead of returning a string, we can return a function. In this case, an anonymous function because this function does not have a name. Now, inside this function, we're going to return hello world. With this structure, if we call sayHello, we're going to get a function back. Okay? That is this anonymous function over here. Now we can call this function and get our message. Now, you might be wondering, what is the purpose of this? Why do we want to return a function here instead of a regular string? Well, this is a very powerful technique, and it has a lot of applications in the real world. You're going to see that soon. All I want you to understand now is that in JavaScript, functions are first-class citizens. We can treat them like any other variables.